Hey Gab, Facebook, YouTube, it is Kevin Newsom coming to you with a little bit of a Halloween story. Now this is not only a Halloween story, it's also a cautionary tale on why you shouldn't play around with Ouija boards. So this story originates several years ago when I was living in Dallas, Texas. I had an apartment in North Dallas at the time. So my girlfriend at the time and I were sitting around the apartment thinking of various things to do for fun, and we came up with playing with a Ouija board. I just so happened to have one, and so we decided that night to give it a try. So we busted out the board and sat it down on the dining room table, and I essentially was steering the board along with her. Now we were both sitting across from one another on the sides of this rectangular shaped table, meaning that both ends of the table were open. So in addition to the 4 chairs, we also had 3 placemats. I had a placemat, my girlfriend at the time had a placemat, and then the end of the table that was to my left and to my girlfriend's right also had a placemat. So there are 4 chairs around this table, 2 on the ends, and then 2 where my girlfriend and I were sitting across from one another. Now, in addition to that, I had taken a candle much like this and placed it on the placemat to my left. So the placemat that was to my left had a candle that was lit, just like this, it was lit. And the board was between myself and my girlfriend. So it was dark at the time, probably 8 or 8:30 in the evening. We turned out the lights except for the candle and began to play. So we both placed our hands on the planchette and started playing. For about 4 to 5 minutes, all we were getting was gibberish. The piece was actually moving on the board, but the answers to all of our questions was just gibberish. And for whatever reason, this really got me frustrated. For those of you who know me, I don't get frustrated very easily. I'm a pretty calm person by nature. But this evening, at this place and time, I was getting increasingly frustrated with each convoluted answer we were getting. So I'd ask a question about the entity's age, its name, if it was a man or a woman, etc., etc., and the only answers we were getting were complete gibberish. So at some point in this routine, I got so frustrated, I said, okay, if you're actually here, give us a sign. And for those of you who have had much experience with boards or the occult, you know there's one thing you are not supposed to do, and that is to ask the entity to give you a sign. It's not a good idea. And I'll explain why in just a minute. In any case, as soon as I ask this question, the candle that is on the placemat to my left, the empty seat to my left, that candle snuffs out. So my girlfriend and I look at each other and we're like, oh crap, what just happened? What did we do? Now remember, this was fall in Dallas. It's cool season. No air conditioning was running. No fans were running. There was no draft in the room. There was no rational reason why the candle should have snuffed out right at that precise moment. So we look at each other, my girlfriend and I, and we're wondering, okay, what did we just invite into this room? What's here with us? In any case, we take a break and turn on a lamp in the living room, and we get back to it and ask several more questions, and honestly just continue to get gibberish answers. They don't even make any sense. So eventually we get tired and decide to pack up the game and go to bed. So I put the board back into the box, put it in the closet, and we go to bed. That night is when things really start to get interesting. During the course of that evening, I start hearing things in my living room I've never heard before. They're bumping, clanking, rumbling sounds coming from the living room that I've never heard before in this apartment. A couple times in the course of the night, I actually get up and go out and check to see what's going on out there. And each time, there's nothing. So the next morning, the girlfriend and I discussed what had happened, and we said, yeah, we heard some weird stuff out there, but aside from that, I didn't experience anything bizarre after the candle incident. And so we kind of go on about our lives. She leaves to go back home, and the following night, I hear these clanking, banging sounds again. And again, I get up a couple times to see what's going on, and each time, there's nothing there. And so I go back to bed, and I'm wondering, okay, is this all in my head? Have I convinced myself that there's something going on, even when there's not? So we fast forward a couple of days, and I'm still having these intermittent clanging, banging sounds in my living room at night. My girlfriend comes back again to visit, and she's there during the day when I'm at work. Now, in this particular apartment, I have a stackable washer and dryer. It's a very small unit where the washer is on bottom, the dryer is on top. And on top of the dryer, I have an iron that I store there along with some detergent. The girlfriend was doing dishes that afternoon in the apartment, and she swears that the iron that is on top of the dryer flies across the kitchen towards her and hits the opposing counter. Now, the dryer wasn't on, the washer was not on. There is no way that this should be possible for an iron to not only fall off the washer-dryer stack, but to fall across the kitchen and hit the opposing counter space. So she tells me this story after I get home from work, and I honestly, I'm a little bit freaked out at that point. So we sit and we talk about it for a few minutes, and putting two and two together, I eventually decide that it's something that we invited into the apartment through that Ouija board. And so what I did is I took the board, threw it in the fireplace, lit it on fire with a piece of wood, and I thought that would be the end of things. We go to bed that night, and everything's quiet and normal and peaceful and relatively calm. But about 2 or 3 in the morning, I again am awakened to hear these bumping, banging, clanging sounds in the living room. And again, I get up, go out, and there's nothing there. So the next morning, I'm getting ready for work, and I thought, maybe I should check the fireplace and see if there's anything left that I might have missed. And so I pull back the little chainmail screen, and lo and behold, I see the little smiling sun face from the Ouija board is still remaining in the fireplace. It's the only thing that did not burn. So later that evening, my girlfriend leaves. I burn the remainder of what's left of the board in the fireplace, and after that, nothing else happened in the apartment. So my recommendation is this: don't mess around with it. Don't mess around with Ouija boards. Don't mess around with trying to channel entities into your presence. It's not a good idea. Whatever you bring in, chances are, is going to know a hell of a lot more about interdimensional travel than you are. And so, right off the bat, you're already at a disadvantage. Also, these entities are almost always negative. They're not friendly sprites, they're not friendly ghosts that come and help you out and give you answers for your test in school. These are entities that at the very least are troublemaking and can be quite deadly. We've heard stories of people getting possessed and all sorts of horrible, wicked things happening. So it's a entertaining tale for sure. It's a tale for Halloween, but it's also a cautionary tale that you shouldn't mess with this kind of occult activity. It's just not a good idea. You never know what you're inviting in. This is Kevin Newsom coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm saying God bless you wherever and whenever you're at. I'll talk to you later. Bye.